Be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together.
Welcome. My name is Jason Sisneros. Welcome to another episode of Built to Exit with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros. And having a cup of coffee this morning, ready to go. This week was, let me just first say thank you or welcome to everybody who's watching live. We've got this streaming all over a bunch of different places, and I want to welcome those of you that are new on the new platforms that are watching, and where our main group of people hang out, which is on Twitter. And what happens is we do this show. I do a little bit of content. We go through here, and then we have an after party on Spaces on Twitter. So make sure that you join us over there. You can watch from wherever you're at, share the show, and comment everywhere. I can see everybody commenting. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Bryce and Julie. Good morning, everybody from around the world. But make sure you join us in the after party at the J Sisneros on Twitter, x.com. And a bunch of business owners, we all get together. We talk about the content. We talk about our wins. We talk about our challenges, things that we're going through in our own companies. And that's really what this is. So if you're catching this for the very first time, welcome. This is just a group of business owners that gets together and we share. Number one, we do business with each other to keep the money in our own environment. We also talk to each other. We help each other. We promote each other, which is really what's needed in the marketplace. We have a bunch of business owners that are out there doing our thing. We, in the small and mid-sized company arena, we tend to be focused on our businesses, our families, our communities, the things that we're doing. And we forget that we're a part of a bigger group of people called SMEs, small and mid-sized enterprises, that consists that drives literally half to 60% of our GDP. That's 17, 18, 20 trillion dollars that's being done by all of us with no real communication patterns amongst us because we're so diversified, we're so spread out. This show is to bring us all together to have great conversations and to talk about things that are happening in the marketplace right now, strategies. When we're looking at AI, we're looking at interest rates, we're looking at, private equity firms. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. But there's all these different subjects that are happening around us while we are doing our business, our HVAC business, our janitorial company, our whatever business it is that you particularly have going on. And so we have that conversation here. I'm going to talk a little bit about some content and then go to Twitter. Come meet the amazing people. We've been together for a long time. We have really great conversations, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you that have been with me for many, many years at this point. But let's get into the show. So economic storm warnings. Let's talk a little bit about what that means. There is a particular, and I want to make sure that I give proper attribution to who brought this information to my attention. It was funny. I got a text or a DM from one of my friends, literally about 2 hours after I'd been introduced to this woman's content, but her name's Tiffany Cianci. That is Tiffany, Tiffany, Cianci. So that's what spurred, I had another show, which I'm going to do next week, but that's what spurred the changing into this particular show. And if you want to find her on Twitter, her what is her handle? Hang on, I'll get it for you. The Vino Mom, the THE Vino Mom. So the Vino Mom, and what she started to talk about, what she brought up, and I've been talking to her in DMs. I'm looking to bring her on the show, here pretty soon. She's been very, very busy, but she basically uncovered the equivalent of what was happening in 2007, 2008. If anybody watched the show, The Big Short, what they were doing with housing and packaging it up and bad debt and all this other kind of stuff that caused the big crash. What she has uncovered and started digging into, which now I have started to dig into, is the bubble around private equity firms. Now, if you're watching this show week to week, you guys know that the smartest buyers in the marketplace, that we talk about building your business to exit and have people buy you. The smartest buyers in the marketplace are private equity firms. They have the smartest people. They have the best, a ton of money behind them. They have the ability to dig in, to do analysis. They have data. They have the best AI tools. There's a lot of really, really great things that they have at their fingertips. But as in any industry, there's some good private equity firms and there's some bad private equity firms. And where money is being made across the board, you can always look and see that criminals enter into that marketplace, right? It just always, whatever's going well, a lot of people jump into it and they make things, they take what's good and they ruin it. I'll just say it that way. But there's always, in those circumstances, as there was 2007, 2008 in the dot-com bubble, in every up and down in the economy, there's always opportunities for us to succeed, for us to be able to further our own agendas, the things that we want to do as an individual. And who I'm speaking to right now is the small and mid-sized business owner. That's my family. Right? That's where I came from. That's what allowed me the ability to do the things that I do. The freedom to be able to go and do the work that we do in philanthropy, to be able to continue, as my wife and I do, to buy and sell companies, to have Built to Exit out there as an advocacy solution for small and mid-sized business owners that are weaving their way through a world that seems like constant octopus arms are coming at us to take the money that we do have. Right? Whether that's legislation, whether that's, AI, whether that's the gurus that are out there, wherever people are, this is an advocacy show. And I know that I don't know that I started out with that concept in mind. I did know that this was my family, that I wanted to pass on some of the knowledge that I had, but I didn't realize until I started digging in and started working with so many companies over the years, how many people, how hard it is to be a business owner, which I knew, but I thought when I was going through it, I'm thinking, oh geez, maybe I'm just not as smart as everybody else. Cause I was thinking, what did I decide to do? Right. It was really the only option. And if you own a business, in your heart, as Mark Anderson said a couple weeks ago, he said, there's really no other option. If you're a business owner, you might have had a job, but you couldn't keep it. But ultimately, the world, the destiny, the world has told you got to do your own thing. And thank God, owning a business and having the ability to do it is available to us. But I used to think back when I was going through it, I'm like, maybe I'm just not that smart. Maybe I'm just not. But it's everywhere, especially in small and mid-sized business owners. For those of you new to the show, that's SME is the title, but it's 0 employees to 499. And so if you happen to be in that realm, there's so many people that are attacking you. There's so many ideas. There's so many things that are happening. And what we're talking about this week is one of those things that's outside of your control, right? You're seeing what's going on in private equity. Now, it's a great time to own a business that to exit, but there might be, according to Tiffany, there might be a big bubble that is not might be. I can tell you, I can verify, I've dug into some of the data. There is a hell of a big bubble that's going on in private equity firms right now that flows over. And again, we'll get into the premise. Please watch some of her videos. Go find her on Twitter and see some of the interviews that she's already done. She just did a great one on Timcast. And hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to see a conversation between her and I here on the Built to Exit podcast. But the idea, let's get into it just a little bit. And then we're going to talk it's always, again, no matter what we talk about, this is a real conversation. Things that I've gone through, things that I know you've gone through, things that I've seen other businesses go through, things that we've helped other businesses navigate through. It's just a historical show to say, hey, we're all in this together. No, you're not dumb for thinking some of the things that you're thinking. No, you're not, your intelligence level is not subpar. You just happen to be a business owner, and we're a part of a big web of people that produces so much, and probably the least networked group of human beings producing so much on the face of the planet. We don't stick together too much because we're busy. I mean, there's obvious reasons for it. That's why we created this show for 9 o'clock every morning. You got a place to come. You have places, you have people to talk to. That's why we have a live conversation called the After Party on Spaces on Twitter after this, so we can have real conversations. But at the end of the day, we see these things now and what can happen. So it's not a depressing thing. We do have hard conversations. I don't candy coat anything. We have real conversations. But on the other side, it's like, there may be one thing that you hear that you can go, oh, that's happening in my business right now. Or it happens in a month, or it happens in a year. And you go, oh, that happens. Okay, here's how I navigate it. Oh, I don't really have the answer to this. Maybe I should go on Saturday and have a conversation, ask that question. And somebody in the audience, if it's not me, somebody in the audience might be able to help you with that. That's where we are. And so, yes, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things where greed overtakes the marketplace. There's going to be those situations, but we're here to say, okay, even if those things outside of our control happen, what can we do to give more and more certainty to the longevity of our business, right? Because ultimately there's a standby. First piece of intelligence is to go, everybody exits, how matters. Happens to be our punchline, happens to be our tagline for Built to Exit, because everybody does exit, whether that's passing away, whether you go out of business, whether you have a dictated exit where somebody is controlling the purchase of your business, or what we lean towards is a custom tailored exit where you control three things: time, money, and terms of your exit. Time, money, terms. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. And so knowing what's going on in the marketplace as we look at economic storm warnings right now, and again, I'm not going to dig too deeply into it because I want to have the deep conversation with her when she comes on, but I want to give you a taste of it, get you digging in so that you can look at what may be happening in the marketplace right now and learn from the historical crashes and bubbles that pop and where you can put yourself. And what we suggest you do now, if it does pop, and then what do you do during that, and then what you do on the other side of it. Okay. So let's see here. All right. So let's talk about the fact that cycles are inevitable. Okay. There's one thing for you to write down. Cycles are inevitable. And you've got, from the Great Depression, from the dot-com bubble to the 2008 crash. And one of the things that happens when these cycles happen, there's things that are very, very predictable. Okay. Very, very predictable. And I've been talking about the idea, not just what I'm going to talk about here with the with the private equity firms and the bubble that has been built, but there's also been all this speculative money. There's been the money that our government printed and flushed into the market, which is what caused the interest rates to go up. And now that's flowing out. It's necessary. And I've been telling people that this is going to ultimately be really, really good for you if you're a business owner who is stuck to principles. This culling, this flushing out of this money and what's coming, and then AI coming in can be your greatest ally. Everything that they're telling you to be afraid of at this particular time, if you are building your business to exit, if you're building it with principles, again, not Jason Sisneros principles, core principles that from the first time that the first goat was traded for the first egg, right? Where they used to be called merchants. If you follow those principles, you will always be able to navigate the ups and downs in the marketplace. And so cycles. So what we want to make sure of, control your fear. Okay. Make sure that when things are happening and stock markets are crashing and you're getting all of this bad news, just remember to not be afraid. Also, on the other side of it, which is what causes a crash in the marketplace, is irrational exuberance. There's a steady state. Now, as a business owner, you know this, you will be able to identify with this just like I do, is that we are some of the most optimistic human beings on the face of the planet. Okay, we have just learned, it's in our DNA, that at some level, everything gonna be all right, right? Everything gonna be all right. We're gonna figure it out. Oh, I'm a $2 million in debt. No problem. We're going to make it out of it, right? Oh, I've got 3 employees that just left. No problem. We're going to make it out of it. Now, I know that we get stressed. I know that comes up, but our underlying thought process when those things happen, you and I, we look at these things and we go, yeah, bad shit's happening, but guess what? It's going to get better on the other side. That is our DNA. That is how we are wired. Okay. So as we think about this stuff, you want to make sure that we're not fearful. We're not over abundance of exuberance when it comes to market corrections. Okay. So principles versus panic. Here's the difference maker. So the difference maker is that the principles of business, add value, fall in love with somebody else's outcome, deliver it better than everybody else, keep your expenses as low as you possibly can, treat your people with the utmost care and respect. Your people, meaning your employees, your vendors, certainly your customers, falling in love with their outcome and delivering better than anybody else can. Right? These are the principles, and it gives you clarity. The end game, your specific end game, and I'll get to the end here, is so crucial. As I've said, I've been at a lot of events. I'm being invited. I'm getting ready to go on a world tour, Germany. We're going to be in Dubai. We're going to be in Riyadh. We're going to be in Singapore. We're going to be all over the place. And the reason why I'm being invited to be on all these stages is because I believe the business community is starting to realize that there is an end game. There is this space called enough. And people are wanting to hear more of that. Your enough could be, I've got a paid off house. I got a paid off car. I've got enough money in the bank, spending off 10% of $1 million, 10% every year that, I've got $100,000 coming in. That's my life. I'm living in a paid off house, all of that. Like that could be your life. The challenge is when you don't know what that number is, you're just continuing to run. And we, again, with that overabundance of optimism that we all operate on, when you get to the other side of that, you just keep rolling the dice. And you've got to take some money off the table. You've got to have a specific end game when it says enough. And then you start playing the game, as I have for many years now. You start playing the game for fun. I know I got my enough. I reached my enough. And now I realize I know what I've got to do to protect that enough, but also what I can do for fun, what I can do for legacy, what I can do for impact. Go rescue undercover rescues of children that are being traded in the sex trade. We can help domestic violence. We can feed people. We can help people with their rent. We can help people start their businesses. My wife and I get to do what we want to do because we reached our enough. And that's all I want for you. Define what your enough is, and that helps clarify and move the clouds of confusion away. You don't have to be a billionaire. If you want to be a billionaire, then put that as your target and go chase it. But do you have to be a billionaire for you to feel satisfied with your journey in this life? Are you living life, or are you chasing to that money? Are you chasing the elusive, I don't know, vagary? And that's what happens a lot. That's why I believe that I've been asked to come to speak on all these stages, is to remind people there is something called enough. And I believe it leads to sickness. It leads to greed. I believe that it leads to what these bubbles are always about, is people not having enough. When you look at, and I'm going to just scroll down here for just a second. And I want to share with you how much these private equity firms are worth. Let's just go down the list really quick, okay? Right now. And remember, we could go back and have the same conversations about the home, the housing, what their valuations were. We could go to .com, what those businesses were valued at. Just think about that as I go through this list of private equity firms and their net worth. Now, in the United States, there's approximately $5 to $6 trillion assets under management for private equity firms. Okay, what that means is private equity firms own about $6 trillion worth of businesses. All right, about $1.5 trillion of that right now is sitting liquid, where investors have put money in. It's sitting liquid, trying to buy new businesses. And when you look at this number one on the list of equity firms, it's called BlackRock. BlackRock has $10 trillion of assets under management. 10 trillion. Like, I just spilled my coffee on my face thinking about $10 trillion. Larry Fink, Susan Wagner, Robert Capito, one of the largest private equity firms. Not one of, they are the largest. So if the United States has that many private equity firm, the entire market has like 6. These guys have 10. That means they're controlling a bunch of stuff around the world. Next in place is Blackstone. They have $1 trillion. Third place, we have Apollo Global Management of $651 billion. KKR and Co., they have $500 billion. They're in New York. Carlyle Group, where you probably hear about them the most, but they have only $420 billion in assets under management. And you got Capital Partners in number 6 at $180 billion. You got TPG at $160 billion. Tomo Bravo out of Chicago at $120 billion. You got EQT at 100. That's number 9. And number 10, rounding out the top 10, is Insight Partners at $90 billion. Now, are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. Billion to trillion. That's how much money, because now let me tell you the underlying reason why private equity is doing so well is because they've invested in companies like yours. You go through small and mid-size, and that's why no matter if this crashes, it'll come back, and you know who's going to bring it back? You and I. The small business community, we're going to bring it back. We're the ones that always bring it back when these people start getting too greedy, because we are in our local environments. We are in our local communities. We are the local tax base. There are things that need to be done. There's electricity that needs to be on. There's water that needs to flow. There's a doctor, or there's medical needs in your community. It always comes back to us. And that's why, again, one of the reasons why I love this community is because the more we realize that, the more influence that we have over it, maybe we can stop some of these greed cycles. But when you look at that, those are the people. Just think back to 2007, 2008, where the biggest banks on the face of the planet, and what happened to them. Right now, underlying all of this right now is the fact that they come in, they buy businesses, and then they go and borrow money against those businesses, and they hope that those businesses that they buy. Imagine your company, for instance, okay? And you go, okay, cool. I've got it to a place where it can run itself. I've got an amazing management team in place. I've got, my relationship to my customers all dialed in. All of the things that we talk about here on Built to Exit, which is crafting your business for the next owner, right? To make it easy to make a decision, to control how much time it takes to buy your business, which is due diligence, right? You want to shorten that due diligence time frame. How much money you're going to get. In other words, your multiple on your business, because you've done all of the things to stack that up. And then the terms. How is this deal going to go down? And am I, the business owner, in control of it, or am I being led by the nose by somebody else who knows what we're talking about? But those are the aspects. Now, what has happened is private equity, again, getting greedy like they always do. They go in, they borrow money against it. They borrow at adjustable rates. And what happens, and I'm gonna keep this really, really high level because I want to get to the point. I'm not trying to confuse everybody with numbers and all this other kind of stuff. But what happens is, as the interest rate goes up, these companies are going to get in trouble. They can't pay their debt. And now you have companies that are very well built and very profitable that cannot pay their bills, and they're going out of business. And there's a list of them. Okay. There's a list of them that this is already happening to. Now we'll get into that. Like I said, when I have her on the show, and we're going to have some really great conversations about it. But let's get to what you can be doing currently right now. Okay. Let's talk about four things. Clarity of vision. What do you want? What is going on with your business? What do you want to have happen to it? And again, I've had this conversation so many times. It's like, and I say something of this nature on every single podcast that I do, every show I'm on, every stage I'm on, every other people's podcast that I go on, is that knowing what you want specifically separates you from the crowd. It separates you from everybody else, is being very hyper-focused on what it is that you want your business to produce for you. Okay. Please do this exercise. If this is the only time you ever watch any of my shows, you getting clear about what you want your business to do is going to help you stay in business. It's going to help separate you away. It's going to help you survive these ups and downs, and the stuff that we're about to go through, and the stuff that we'll go through again another 5 years from now, and what we went through 5 years ago. It just helps you steady your race. When you go back and you look through the history of my videos over the last 10 years, I'm very consistent. I'm very consistent about the things that I talk about. I'm very consistent in the things that I do. I have learned that from my mentors. I've learned that from having my ass handed to me time after time after time for either being too fearful or being too exuberant. I've learned that steady in business is the right pace, but steady in a very specific targeted outcome, the clarity. I know exactly where my wife and I are headed in the next 5 years. We have it written down. We don't necessarily know exactly how we're going to get there because we have an open sort of viewpoint of, okay, we know what we're doing in the business community. We know what we're doing with B2X, but there's other things that come in. They go, oh, we've got an opportunity. I'm building out, for instance, didn't know I was going to do this. I'm building out an AI division in B2X to help our strategists be better strategists and for business owners to be able to utilize AI in a very specific way for them to be able to make more money, be more efficient, be able to survive the new technology and thrive with the new technology in their business. I didn't know I was going to do that, but we were open to it because I know the target for our next 5 years. I'm sitting at the end of 4 or 5 targets that I hit along the way, including selling all my business, most of my businesses back in 2019, right? And so for you, for your clarity, you've got to get crystal clear on what it is that you want your business to produce. First level, don't get fancy, right? You don't have to be like, I want a jet and I want whatever turns you on and gives you the sensation of being free, not fancy, not respected, not feared, not oh my gosh, the people are jealous of me, not thumping my chest, blah, 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 all the bullshit that we've seen for so many years from so many bullshit artists who now are fighting amongst themselves, who are desperate because the cash flow has left the cash flow is on its way out, right? As Warren Buffett says, you want to know who's swimming naked? You'll find out who's swimming naked when the tide goes out, and you're starting to see it. It's the desperation of the gurus. It's the desperation trying to get you, the business owner, into your pocket and to take what you have. Everybody's an acquisition expert all of a sudden. Why? Because private equity is putting way too much money into the marketplace right now. They're not following their discipline standards. They're just throwing money at shitty businesses, and everybody's an acquisition expert. We went over that the last couple of weeks, how to look out for it. Right. And you've got people that are saying, I'm an acquisition expert who and no offense, who owned a painting company. And then they became a marketing person, and then they became, a funnel expert. And now they're all of a sudden an acquisition. This is serious business. This is serious business with serious ramifications for the people that own businesses who have put their life, blood, sweat, and tears into the company that has paid for them, for their family, that is paying for college, that is putting the roof over their head. Way too many jokers out in the marketplace saying that they know what they're doing about buying and selling businesses, and they damn straight don't. Do your due diligence. Okay, clarity of your outcome, number 1. Number 2, operational discipline. As things are happening in the marketplace, your focus, because you know your end game, you know your target, you know what you're headed towards, your operational discipline needs to not vary because you see something happening in AI and you see, the stock market is crashing and, pensions are going to be emptying because of they bought all of this fake debt from private equity firms, and you're steady. Operational discipline is super key. All right. 3rd, financial integrity, clarity about your numbers. Don't fudge them. Don't push them off. Don't abdicate it to somebody else. Get really crystal clear about what your numbers are, and are you advancing towards your end game or aren't you? Your business speaks in numbers. Make sure that you know your numbers. Avoid debt traps, manage your liquidity, and prepare proactively for downturns. Put some money away, right? Know how you're going to scale in and out of what's going to be happening with the economy. And the last piece is emotional intelligence. I started with that. I'm going to end with that. Stay calm under pressure. Okay. Stay calm under pressure. Make decisions from strength, not fear. And that's kind of where I want to leave it. I've got some things that we're going to talk about next week. And hopefully I'm going to be able to get Tiffany on the show so that we can dive into it. But do some research this next week on what's going on in private equity. Certainly go follow Tiffany and watch what she has to say. Again, she was just on Timcast. I've got a very specific conversation that I want to have with her in regards to what stops this and what you all have heard me say multiple times, which is the laws on the books when it comes to antitrust could do away with all of this. She thinks we need to rewrite them. That's the conversation I want to have with her, is that I think if we just execute on the ones that we have, great. She thinks that we should rewrite them. And I think that there's an answer somewhere in between there. So let me leave you with this. Leave you with this. This community, the B2X community, built to exit community, small, mid-sized company, whether you're with us, whether you're not, doesn't matter if this is the only time you ever hear. Look, I absolutely love this community. I love this community. I love what you stand for. I love what you do for your families. I love how you have to do it. I love the commitment that you come to this game with. I love the passion that you have to have where 90%, and I mean that, 90% of the rest of the world will never understand what you go through on a day-to-day basis, what you go through from when you wake up in the morning on a Monday to when you close it down on Friday, or if you even close it down, the 7-day weeks that roll together, the hours that you stay up, staying up stressed when the rest of the family, you have to project that everything's okay. All of the things that you do for the chance, the opportunity in the eye blink of history for you to be free economically. I love you guys. I love this community. I'm fighting tooth and nail, and I will for the rest of my days. Just like I did when I was fighting bullies when I was younger, just like I do when I fight bullies when we go rescue kids from traffickers. Just like we do when we're helping domestic violence, folks, just like when we're feeding people that are hungry, just like veteran issue, like all of the stuff that we care about, we have to fight, and we have to fight together. This is no bullshit. This time right now is going to define in small business, in decentralized finance. This is going to define our generation. Whether these same opportunities are available for our kids, whether these same opportunities are available for our grandkids. Or are they going to have to check in and check out with a major corporation, or are they going to have to beg from a centralized government? It's worth fighting to me, y'all. It's worth fighting. It's worth coming together. It's worth having these conversations. It's worth you taking a step outside of your bubble, your own bubble, to reach out and talk to other people so that we can grow this together. So eventually, right, the goal of B2X, the goal of Built to Exit is for us to personally help 600 of you sell your business between $5 and $30 million. Those numbers free people. Okay. Those numbers free people. And then for those 600 people to invest back into the community, and for us to form a group of people that can go to government and say, no, we're not non-essential. We are 60% of the GDP. That's why I'm doing this. In the meantime, I'm still participating. Just bought companies last week. Going to sell a couple companies in the next couple weeks. We're doing the same thing. I am in business with you. And we use my strategies. We use the things that we talk about here. And this is real time, not something I did 20 years ago, not something I copied out of a book. Real time execution, ninja moves for you, the single business owner, to own your business and to build it to exit. That's why we're here. So thanks for joining us on another episode of Built to Exit. And remember, everybody, everyone exits. How matters. Make sure you understand that one premise. Okay. Everybody exits. How matters. Go to, if you want, I put a lot of research into these shows. And if you want my show notes, you go to builttoexit.biz. and you put in a request for the newsletter, or wherever you are, put it in the comments, and my team will follow up with you to get your email. If you want to just put your email address in the comments, that makes it super easy. My team doesn't have to reach out; they just put you on the list. But you get my show notes, you get the finalized podcast, you get where I'm going to be, what we're doing, what we're involved in. And you see stories of people that are successful, and hopefully your story is going to be on our newsletter at some point as well. We're going to be all around the world. We're doing a world swing where we've got some stuff coming up, be in Austin, Texas. We've got a lot of things. So just go to builttoexit.biz and you can catch up there, or jasonsisneros.com. I want you all to go kick some ass. I don't want you to be fearful. Follow this news on what's going on with private equity firms selling their debt to pensions, and follow Tiffany. And in the next couple of weeks, like I said, I'll send out a big reminder of her and I doing a show, if her and I can figure out what that looks like with our busy schedules. So go out there, crush it. I love you all, and we'll see you next week. I'm Jason Sisneros. Join us on Twitter right now. In the next 2 or 3 minutes after the show, we're going to be doing a spaces, and we're all going to have a conversation about what we just talked about. Love y'all. Peace. See you next week.